shoot. Hello, everybody. Hello, Zarmigas. Hello, Chinchan. Welcome back to 428 Shibuya Scramble. Last time, we went on a huge, long-ass shenanigans with Maria, aka Tama. And I believe that we had just unlocked the jumping. Oh, God, that's a bit loud. That's a bit loud for me. It's fine for you guys, probably. Please tell me if it's too loud, okay? Or too soft. Oh, hello. Oh, wait. Welcome to the stream. Okay. Here we go. Now. Kano. Oh, is Kano blocked off? Oh, no. We can still do Kano. Yeah. We just unlocked Kano's path, and as I recall, I said last time that's what we were going to do. Yep. I really want to see more of Canaan. I want to see what her whole deal is. Because I thought this was like a story about viruses and shit. And conspiracies. But now we have this, like, this girl with, like, superpowers. And Maria may have the same powers. It's, like, fucking insane. Hello, Void Dweller. Welcome to the stream. Oh, my God. It's like, holy shit. The genre is now a bit up in the air. So, let's get back and see what Kano is doing. Stanley drove along Inokashira-dori toward Hiru, where the finish line for the ransom relay was located. Hello, T. Welcome to the stream. His demeanor was cold and brooding, in sharp contrast with Kano's gung-ho readiness. I think I read this part already. He seemed lost in some deep and cheerless thought. Hilarious, Zarmagus. Kuze's voice came in over the wireless as the car came out onto Meiji-dori. We've identified the owner of the condominium. Yeah, it's Tanaka. It's Mamoru Tanaka. I still think that Tanaka is a huge red herring, basically to waste everyone's time. He's a colleague of Kenji Osawa. What? Kano squawked. This was an unexpected twist. Kajiwara confirms that Tanaka left the Osawa residence at just after 1400 hours. No word on his movements since then. It's possibly headed to his private condo, where the attaché case is slated to end up. Any officer who runs across Tanaka is to apprehend him on sight. Kuze got the connection. This mastermind you've been chasing, Kano asked. Is it Tanaka? Stanley didn't reply. No way. Okay, now I'm 100% sure. Fine, never mind. I just want to know if Tateno is safe. Still worried about that traitor, huh? So Stanley could ignore all of his questions, but still remember to make snide remarks. Talking about Tateno is the only thing that got a reaction out of you, isn't it? Whew. Kano snorted. What makes you so certain he can't be a traitor? Tateno just isn't like that. That's not an answer, son. Stanley scoffed. All right. I've watched the man work for years. I know him. He has no reason to betray the Force. You've watched him work, huh? What about his private life, then? You know all about that, too? Of course, Chichan. That's totally fine. You know, he hasn't had any money trouble or anything like that? Kano felt his blood starting to boil. I don't care what you think, he said. I trust Detective Tateno. Trust him? On what basis? I don't need any basis to have faith in someone. Kano snapped. Damn. He's very much like Kaito now. I see. without any basis in fact. It's just plain sentimentality.
Stanley said. Now, this is really interesting, going against stereotypes. We have the American guy as the one with cold logic, and the Japanese guy as very emotional. I think that's really cool.
There is no reason or logic to it.
A thin smile came to his face.
Be they friends or family, you can never really know other people. The only person you can trust is yourself.
Kano had no response for such an emotionless statement. He looked away. He and Stanley were just plain incompatible. Well, of course you are. Your partners assigned to a case together. It's like literally interdimensional law that you have to be complete opposites in some way. Otherwise, how would the whole buddy cop genre even work? It seemed like no amount of talking would let them get through to one another.
Never take anything at face value, Kano. You start trusting too much, and you're basically as good as dead.
Kano just stared out the window. The Shibuya precinct came into view. Tanaka's condo wasn't much further now. They were outside of Tanaka's condo now.
Over there,
Stanley said, keeping his voice down. Oh, here we go. Damn, his hair looks like mine. Across the street was one of the foreign syndicate members, walking briskly, the attaché case clutched at his side.
I'm making the arrest. Kano, wait!
Stanley exclaimed. Kano heard him loud and clear, but he had no intention of stopping. He approached with the criminal at full speed, then leapt to tackle him around the waist. The two men fell to the pavement in a tangled heap. The collision sent the attaché case flying. Kano's eyes tracked the case for a moment too long. He was caught off guard when the man threw a punch at him.
Huh!
The blow caught him right in the jaw, snapping his head back. For a moment, Kano saw stars as he shook off the impact. The man sprang to his feet and sprinted away in the direction of Stanley's car.
Stanley!
Kano shouted. The case is not important at all.
Grab him!
But Stanley ignored the man and instead went for the attaché case.
Oh, come on! Really?
Kano had no choice but to pursue the perp himself. Oh, come on. Okay, so that choice didn't make any difference. I assume that choice was completely pointless. He hadn't come this far just to let the crooks get away now. Suddenly, the fleeing man skidded to a stop. Surrounded. Several cars had pulled across the road ahead, and detectives were pouring out of them. His escape route cut off, the criminal resigned himself to capture. While Kano helped make the arrest, several of the other detectives broke into Tanaka's condo. Stanley, meanwhile, was carefully inspecting the exterior of the attaché case. He'd already opened it. It was stuffed with bundles of banknotes. Well, at least they got their money back. The 50 million yen ransom was back in police hands.
This is a decoy,
The American muttered under his breath.
I wonder where.
His words trailed off, but Kano has heard them.
What did you expect?
The detective demanded.
Samples of that new drug in there?
As usual, Stanley gave no reply. The look on his face, however, told Kano he'd been right on the mark. Some of the backup team emerged from Tanaka's condo. Kano turned to them, feeling a sudden surge of anxiety for Maria.
What's the situation in there?
He asked. They told him that they found no one in Tanaka's rooms. So the hostage's status remained unknown, and the main culprit had evaded capture. The case hadn't been solved. In fact, it was still unfolding in the worst way conceivable. And still, Stanley remained focused on the attaché case, pondering it with a thoughtful expression.
Look,
Kano told him.
I'm going to request that I be returned to my normal duties. Maria still needs to be rescued, and I still need to find out what happened to Hitomi and Detective Tateno.
For once, Stanley actually responded.
Hitomi? Yes, that's it! It makes perfect sense that they'd have her carry it. Huh? What do you mean? This whole attaché case relay was a fake out.
I thought so.
Whoa, slow down.
Kano said, wishing he could calm himself with his words.
Explain what you're talking about. Somehow, the kidnappers made contact with Kenji Osawa and got him to have Hitomi carry the drug, separate from the ransom.
Really?
Wait, you're saying they had Hitomi bring them the drug?
Stanley nodded. Whoa! Oh my god.
Case handoffs were a sort of camouflage, way for them to keep the police distracted from their real goal.
Kano nodded. It had indeed felt like the case relay was a decoy, an attempt to buy time. If the syndicate were after something else entirely, that would explain why so many of their actions had appeared to make no sense.
So?
Kano asked.
What sort of drug is this? Why would they go to such lengths to get their hands on it? It's an antiviral.
Stanley replied after some hesitation.
Way to cure people infected with a very particular virus. What virus are we talking about? It's called UA.
Kano had never heard of it. Still, he could imagine the possibilities. Suppose this UA were something like the Ebola virus. Yep, discovered in Sudan in 1976. Infection causes Ebola hemorrhagic fever, resulting in high fever and massive bleeding throughout the body. At present, there is no vaccine to prevent infection, nor any drug to cure the disease after it manifests.
Or perhaps HIV.
Yeah, human immunodeficiency virus. HIV destroys the cells that are essential for regulating cell-mediated immunity, considerably reducing immune response. This effect can result in infections that would ordinarily be fought off easily, developing into serious illnesses. There are various treatments, but as of yet, nothing that will eradicate the virus completely.
Hell, even the all too familiar influenza.
An infectious disease caused by the influenza virus. Symptoms are similar to that of the common cold, but are much more severe, occasionally resulting in death. There are three main types of the virus, A, B, and C, with A and B causing the typical run of the illness in humans. Neuraminidase is recommended as an infective inhibitor, but this merely alleviates the symptoms and is not a complete cure. There were medicines that could treat all of those diseases, but nothing that could cure them completely. Any drug that can do that would be worth vast sums of money.
Kano, do you have any means of getting in touch with Mr. Osawa? Yes, I know one of the detectives stationed at his home. Check in with him ASAP. Find out whether or not he gave the antiviral to Hitomi.
Kano suppressed a scowl. It looked like he wasn't done assisting Stanley yet. He got out his cell phone and dialed up Kajiwara. I remember this part. Now we have to make Kano say something different. Kajiwara picked up promptly. Kano, what's going on?
Could I speak with Mr. Osawa?
I suppose that would be alright. What for, though?
There's something I need him to confirm with me. It's an emergency.
Alright. Just make sure not to tell him anything about the investigation.
Sure thing.
After a while, a man's hoarse voice came over the line.
Osawa speaking. Can I help you? This is Detective Kano from the Shibuya precinct. Time is critical, so I need to just cut to the chase here.
Kano took a deep breath.
Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter at home?
Osawa let out a gasp. Wait, where's my choice? Keep out. Where's my choice? Sorry. Is that really a fucking choice? Really? Like, what difference does that make if he goes after it anyway?
Get the case!
Like, this, how does this make any difference? Stanley headed for the attaché case while Kano went after the suspect. Suddenly, the freeing man skid to a stop. Like, is this gonna really make any difference? I'm gonna keep forwarding until if anything has been changed. I thought I would be able to say something different. That is really weird. Okay, no, it hasn't changed anything. That is really weird. See, look, I don't get it. Is the game bugged or some shit? Because it's literally telling me that Kano needs to say something different. But it didn't even give me a choice on what him to say. What the actual fuck? Is it bugged or some shit? Like, why didn't I get a choice of what to tell him something different? Oh, God. The jump is to, it's of course to, you know, to Kano. Oh, God. Fucking jumps. I swear, Zarmegas, the fucking jumps are gonna... Is it gonna actually... I swear, if it gives me the choice, only if I jump. You're... Yes! The I swear, the jumps are gonna be the fucking end of me. I fucking swear. God. Seriously. So fucking pointless. I just really don't understand the purpose behind it. Like, if you want us to do the paths in a specific order, like, why even let us choose a character to start with and do things like that? Like, I don't understand. Like, what's the point of even getting the choice of what character to do if you want us to jump between scenes and are literally forcing us to jump between scenes at these specific points in order to continue? Like, I really am struggling to find out the purpose of the jump. Like, seriously. Let's continue.
Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter Hitomi?
Osawa let out a gasp.
What? What are you talking about? I'm the one asking the questions here, Mr. Osawa. Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter Hitomi? I'm not sure I understand the question.
Osawa's voice trembled as he spoke. Kano was sure he'd hit the nail right on the head.
I know what the Syndicate is really after, Mr. Osawa.
Oh, we got 3 choices. Damn, I forgot what he said initially in the other path. It's like I do just want to keep reminding you guys that I really do love like how unique this game is. The story and the way it's presented is really cool. The characters are really cool and funny and awesome, and it's such a very unique gameplay. But my god, those motherfucking jumps. Seriously. It's still a great game. I would totally recommend. Yeah, I'm gonna go with B. Yeah. Thank you, Ji-chan. Yeah.
It's you.
Osawa remained silent. Like... It looks like, looks like I changed the future.
What?
Osawa was so startled that his voice caught in his throat.
What are you talking about?
The antiviral research was top secret. So why does some detective from Shibuya precinct know about it? Osawa was bewildered.
I'm the one asking the questions here, Mr. Osawa. Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter Hitomi? I'm not sure I understand the question. I know what this syndicate is really after, Mr. Osawa.
Osawa's mind went blank when he heard what Kano said next. He could give no reply.
Mr. Osawa?
The detective continued after a moment.
Is everything all right?
Without really thinking, Osawa hung up. Osawa staggered out of the living room. He needed to be alone. To his surprise, Kajiwara didn't try to stop him. I think this is different because last time he just stood up and confessed to all the detectives. Now he's trying to be alone. Shutting his study door behind him, he dropped onto his sofa, then got out a bottle of pills. He stared at it, thinking back on what the detective had told him. Yeah, this is new.
I know what this syndicate is really after, Mr. Osawa. It's you.
Detective Kano had a point. From a financial perspective, Osawa's discoveries, and indeed Osawa himself, were incredibly valuable. Immersed as he was in his research, he had never imagined he'd become a target. The kidnappers had used that artlessness to catch him completely off his guard. He thought back to the emails that A had sent him. For now, they were just stringing him along, but before long, the guilt bombs might turn into more direct threats. I just wanted to say that maybe it's just me, maybe it's that the jumping kind of clashes with the way I like to do things. I like to finish one thing before starting something new. I don't like stopping something midway and then go start something else midway. That's just not my style in anything I do. I usually will just try to finish something as much as I possibly can before I have to do something else. And this game is just taking my freaking OCD of that and beating me over the head with it, saying, no, you have to do it. It's like this way. And it's like, it's weird because I'm totally fine with the keep outs. The keep outs are great. So they clearly want you to know one plot point before another. But it's like the jumping, I'm sorry. Especially if you've already unlocked that scene in the other character's path anyway, it just feels so completely pointless. Oh, God. It should just be enough to unlock another character's path to get further along in the story, because that's essentially what you're doing anyway. It's like, I don't want to stop. It's like taking a book and then taking these, these 5 books that are happening all at once, and I'm having a lovely time reading this chapter and such, and saying, wait a minute, I'm going to stop you halfway through this chapter. You better go and read a chapter of the other book before you do this, before you finish that chapter. And I'm like, no, I want to finish this chapter. I do want to read that one too. I definitely do. And I don't want to read them out of order, but I want to finish one thing before I start the next thing. And that's just me. That's just something about me personally. And this game is just really going 110% against that aspect of me. So, for most people, maybe the jumps aren't so bad, probably. I'm just saying this is from, I just want to be, I just want to be perfectly clear that, because I don't like the jumps doesn't mean that I think this is a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, I really am really enjoying this, even a lot more than I thought I would. And it's really cute and adorable and amazing. But goddamn those fucking jumps, I fucking swear. The game, story, game mechanics, except for jumps, characters, all great, fantastic. So, yeah, let me just continue. I'm so sorry for interrupting again. I just want to clarify, to make it absolutely clear that this is my own specific opinion, and I'm not trying to condemn, the game as a whole because of it. I really do love the game. And other people might not even care about the jumps at all. And that's totally within their right. Anyway, let's get back to the story. They would extort his money, steal his research, and finally have him killed. It was so easy to see what their plan was now. And the worst of it was, he wasn't their only target. Kidnapping Maria would only be Ace's first step. Osawa contemplated in horror how his family would all be victimized because of him. There was only one thing he could do. Oh no! Oh no! I hope somebody stops him. He poured a amount of sleeping pills out into his hand. Oh my god. Oh no! Oh, fuck berries. Then, without any hesitation, he gulped down the lot. Oh no! The effect on his body was slow to start, but he felt a deep and irresistible drowsiness begin to creep over him as his consciousness was starting to fade. Oh no. This probably wasn't the right choice. As his consciousness was starting to fade, he heard the distant sound of the front door chime. Oh no. Moments later, the study door opened. And Kajiwara appeared inside to see Osawa lying on the floor.
Mr. Osawa, are you okay? Mr. Osawa!
The detective's voice was rapidly fading out. Oh no. As Osawa surrendered to the irresistible urge to drift into sleep, his mouth gaped open. Oh no, this is a separate bad end. Fucking hell.
Hey, has come for me.
Those were his last words. Fuck berries! All because of what Kano said to him. Okay, fuck on me. Yeah, wow. Jeez. Okay, let's try a different choice. See, I don't mind this. I think the bad ends are really creative and shit, and like that they're part of the game. It's an important point of the game, and you're meant to do it, and it feels right because you're going to see all the sad and sometimes funny things that happen with it. Yeah, it's got to be Hitomi.
It's Hitomi.
Osawa remained silent. Now let's jump back to Osawa.
What?
Osawa was so startled that his voice caught in his throat.
What are you talking about?
The antiviral. Okay, this is the same. This part is the same.
I know what the Syndicate is really after, Mr. Osawa.
Osawa's mind went blank when he heard what Kano said next. He could give no reply.
Mr. Osawa?
Hilarious Armigas. Yes. No more jumping in any video game ever. Ah, jeez. Oh my god. We're very lucky on this channel that I play visual novels and RPGs, two genres where jumping is not something you usually do, if ever. Oh, jeez.
Mr. Osawa?
The detective continued after a moment.
Is everything all right?
Yes, absolutely, Ju-chan. Without really thinking, Osawa hung up. Okay, now what is he gonna do? Osawa staggered out of the living room. He needed to be alone. To his surprise, Kajiwara didn't try to stop him. Shutting his study door behind him, he dropped onto his sofa, then grabbed 3 times his normal dosage of stomach pills. There was no water in the room, so he had to swallow the... Wait. Oh, these are completely different pills. Okay. I'm guessing they're ginger or something. Detective Kano's words echoed in his mind.
I know what the syndicate is really after, Mr. Osawa. It's Hitomi.
There was only one reason they could be after Hitomi. He broke out into a cold sweat as he began to understand what this kidnapping was really about. Oh, I don't think I did, Ji-chan. It had all started 6 days earlier. Here we go. Flashback time. So this is a Japanese keyboard. It was April 22nd. Osawa had just returned from the United States the day before. It was in the midst of some routine work at the General Research Lab when his cell phone rang. The LCD display showed an unlisted caller. With some hesitation, Osawa picked up.
Hello?
Is this Henry Osawa?
The caller was using a voice modulator. A type of device or software used to make one's voice sound different. Changing a voice to the point of making his voice print or tone analysis impossible presents a major challenge. To be able to do so in real time requires major financial aid and technological resources. Osawa raised an eyebrow.
Yes?
Go and analyze Hitomi's blood.
Her blood?
If you don't, she's going to die.
With that, the caller hung up. There was an intensity behind this that made Osawa sure it wasn't just some prank call. He had Hitomi come into the lab ASAP. He told Hitomi that he wanted a sample of her blood for an experiment. She agreed, suspecting nothing.
I'm going to clone her. And I'll have an army of daughters.
That's the secret plot twist. That Hitomi and Maria are actually clones. He placed some of the blood he'd drawn onto a glass slide, then added some fluorescent, a type of fluorescent dye. A yellow-green liquid, a type of fluorescent dye, chiefly used in preparing specimens for viewing under a fluorescent microscope. But it has other uses as well, such as a diagnostic reagent administered in eye exams. Its highest volume use is on St. Patrick's Day, when massive amounts of fluorescent are used to dye the Chicago River green. I hope that's sanitary. I've never heard of that before. A type of dye that causes the dyed substance to emit higher wavelength fluorescent light when illuminated with a certain other type of light. Such dyes can reveal fine details when used on specimens viewing through a fluorescent microscope. Placing the slide under a fluorescence microscope, he took a look. I remember the fluorescent microscope.
It can't be.
Osawa could hardly believe his eyes. Wriggling under the microscope was the Grim Reaper sickle itself. There was no mistaking it. Hitomi was infected with the UA virus. Trembling, Osawa hurried to his computer. Could he really see viral particles with a fluorescent microscope? He opened the UA virus folder on his monitor. Within were images showing the stages of the virus's propagation. I think you would need a stronger microscope than that. He double-clicked to magnify the first image. The Reaper's sickles were interlocked with one another. He clicked on the next image. After further propagation, the UI virus looked less like a sickle and more like a sort of insectoid larva. Next was the final image. Interlocked into a single mass, the UA virus vaguely resembled a sinister, many-petaled sunflower. It took a mere 12 hours for the pathogen to develop to this point and begin its hideous destruction of the human body. Hitomi's insection sample was still in the state shown in the first image. There was still a chance to save her. So somebody... No, Jishan, no! I'm sorry. That's what happens. I get it. I get you're joking. Osawa slumped back in his chair, huddling in on himself. He had no choice. There was only one way to save Hitomi. He would have to administer the nearly completed antiviral. Hello, Eblets. Welcome to the stream. And yeah, so it looks like what happened is somebody purposefully infected her, maybe during her trip to the Middle East, and then they told him about it so he would have the antivirus. Inside her, and then they could extract her antibodies or something and basically make more of the antiviral out of that, is what I'm assuming. Although, that's a lot more difficult than it sounds. It's not like in freaking Ever 17, where they did the same thing. As we know from real life, even with incredible amount of scientists working on one project all at once, it takes quite a bit of time, but what you gonna do? It's science fiction. Using the antiviral without official approval was a grievous violation of company policy. Acting against company rules and regulations. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Eblis. I was thinking of, goddammit, no. I was thinking of Maria. Okay, never mind. So somebody infected Hitomi sometime when we had no idea. Not Maria. Yeah. I thought during her trip would have been a great thing, but then I remembered that was Maria and not Hitomi, so basically the same thing happened, but somehow she was injected or ingested something with the virus without knowing. In case of a major violation, not only can the violator be fired, but the company may also seek indemnities. Still, Osawa didn't have time to get the higher-ups to approve a clinical trial. Yes, Richan, yeah. And then you have, friggin', Mickey saying, "Who wrote this script?" Jeez. Let's see. And Goofy's like, "Look, there are bugs inside. Somebody put bugs inside Riku," or something. Oh god. Have any of you ever watched the Kingdom Hearts in a nutshell videos by Just a Pancake? Those are fucking hilarious. Oh my god, seriously. You should go look them up after the stream, or even hell right now if you want. He compiled them all, and they're really funny. Still, Osawa didn't have time to get the higher-ups to approve the clinical trial. He might be punished severely for it, but this was his only option. His daughter's life was at stake. But there was also another, even bigger hurdle in his way. The antiviral drug was stored in the deepest recesses of the biochemical research building. High-intensity X-ray scanner was set up at the entrance to the storage area. This made it impossible for him to take research materials out. Yes, where Xehanort always says, Keyblade! It's like a type of radiation, also referred to as Rontgen rays. Oh wow, I've never heard that term before. With a shorter wavelength than the UV light, but a longer wavelength than gamma rays. Because X-rays can penetrate many objects with little observation or scattering, they can be used to create images of internal structure. Hospitals, for example, use X-ray technology to examine the insides of patients' bodies, while security personnel use it to scan luggage at airports and to search for bombs. Yes, his name spelled backwards is... Well, if he couldn't get the antiviral out of there, he just had to bring Hitomi in. A course of action quickly took shape in his mind. First, he needed to slip out of the general research building. Chi-chan, did you know that in Kingdom Hearts, the Remind DLC, they literally have, during the bonus boss version of Xehanort, they literally have him say that as one of his lines. It's just him going, Keyblade! As he does an attack. I can't not laugh when he does that. It's too funny. He then would head to the biochemical research facility and show his ID card to the guard at the front gate. Damn, he's going on a stealth mission. Identification card. Many facilities that carry out highly classified research assign different levels of security clearance to individual researchers, and only those with suitable clearance, as indicated by their ID cards, are admitted to restricted areas. Development of more advanced technologies, such as electronic ID tags, are replacing older barcode entry cards. Really, Jishan? I didn't think it was that good of an impression. It's just my Kinzo voice. Keyblade! Beatrice! Jeez. Jeez. After passing through a lobby under the watchful great gaze of several security cameras, he'd reach an elevator at the end of the hall that went directly to the storage section. This elevator required an ID card scan to operate. Da 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 da. Secret Agent Osawa, Secret Agent Osawa, da 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 da. You know, for the real version of that song, I can't help but hear the lyric as them saying secret Asian man. I don't know, just the way they say it. I don't know if that's just me, like, I always mishear it as that, just because of the, I can't really hear the T that well in that song, and it just cracks me up. Jeez. It would take about 20 seconds to get down to the first basement level and arrive at the entrance to the storage area. Finding an excuse to get Hitomi that far ought to be doable. If the security guard got suspicious, Osawa could say it was for a top-secret hematology experiment, and the guard would probably believe him. I mean, hell, it's like his facility, isn't it? pretty much the guy in charge of the big lab there is like probably the second in command of the whole darn thing, aside from his boss. So he should probably be allowed in there. The problem was what came after. He barely even has to sneak in, I think. Getting into the storage area itself required fingerprint authentication for both Osawa and Tanaka. Huh. This meant that he couldn't possibly get to the antiviral without Tanaka's cooperation. Desperate with uncertainty, Osawa called up Tanaka. He frantically explained the situation.
Understood.
Tanaka replied.
We need to get her this drug as soon as possible. If the company finds out about this, you'll be held accountable for violation of corporate policy along with me. Are you sure you're okay with that? What are you talking about? Tomi's life is more important than company policy.
Yeah, see, this is another reason why I think Tanaka is just a red herring. Tanaka spoke without hesitation. Osawa felt an immense surge of gratitude for his assistant.
And I have to say, I'm deeply moved by your determination.
Tanaka added.
Moved? Whatever for? You really are worried about it, Tomi.
Osawa's gratitude faded.
What are you talking about? Of course I am. My apologies. It's just that putting your career on the line for something so personal is... It's what? It's not like me? No. Although, yes. Well...
Oh my god.
Well, yes. Damn it. I'm sorry. Don't fire me.
Now Tanaka's voice was colored with embarrassment.
Just what sort of person do you think I am? The sort of person that I'll just marry someone who was forced to marry you and doesn't care about it? Never mind. I didn't say anything.
Osawa resisted the urge to ask the question out loud. Ooh, I got to a save point. A short time later, Osawa and Tanaka stood before the door to the secure storage area. The security guard had let them in without the slightest suspicion. Osawa pressed his index finger to the fingerprint scanner first. Accepted. He realized it in holding his breath as his authorization finally went through. Half a moment later, Tanaka touched his own finger to the scanner plate. Accepted. Caution. Restricted area. Authorized personnel only behind this point. Koshi Pharmaceutical Co. Limited. Have a nice day. The lock released with an audible clang, and the heavy door opened. Osawa hurried to retrieve the antiviral. As he picked up a small vial, he had a sudden realization. They were finally going to use the drug in a human test. Man, I am getting such flashbacks to Judgment. His fatherly wish to cure Tomi was overlaid with an intense rush of curiosity. The researchers strived to just discover his results.
Hurry. I need to hurry. I need to administer this antiviral as soon as possible.
Osawa could hardly fend off his excitement. Over the course of the next few hours following the injection, the UA virus would be eradicated from Tomi's body. There had been some fever and cramping as the temporary side effects, but the DDS has done a spectacular job of stumping up the virus. Drug delivery system, yep. Yep, that's that. Yeah, I've said before, that's in real life, that's the bitch and a half. In vitro, we can get rid of so much, but in vivo, drug delivery is probably the biggest problem. Also known as smart drug delivery, the ability to target a specific region of the body with a specific drug has momentous implications for the future of medicine. DDS technology is currently being tested extensively around the world. In saving his daughter's life, Osawa had proven the value of his research. If he had been asked which made him happier, he would have been hard-pressed to give an answer. Ouch. Damn. Oh, I mean, it's a very difficult problem to overcome in real life, Void Dweller. It's not a problem within the story. Afterwards, he asked Hitomi where she could have become infected, but she had no idea. He explained the need for secrecy, and strictly forbade her telling anyone else what had happened. That's exactly correct, Ji-chan, by the way. Also, make sure it doesn't have off-target effects, which is another aspect of drug delivery. Now a week had passed since Osawa gave the drug to Hitomi. He had been conducting checks and discovered that DDS had not broken down, but remained in Hitomi's bloodstream. Extracting the DDS was a simple matter, requiring just a small blood sample from around the nape of her neck. The DDS tends to linger in the nape of the neck because of the lymph nodes located there. These lymph nodes identify viruses that invade the body as foreign substances to be attacked, but they are not always able to overcome particularly powerful pathogens. In such cases, the virus propagates rapidly inside of them. Once the patient has been treated, the antiviral will seek out the virus and accumulate there as well. The DDS itself was simply the delivery system for the antiviral drug. Residual amounts of the antiviral itself stayed behind within these cells. Yeah, they're just gonna extract it. The terrorist guys. The materials used to create the DDS must, as a matter of course, cause minimal or no harm to the human body. Ideally, rather than accumulate inside the body, DDS substances should be either digested or absorbed and absorbed or excreted. Because the antiviral must remain in the body for as long as the virus is active, however, a very careful balance must be struck between persistence and dissipation. Using the GDS, it was possible to extract those minuscule amounts from cells in a blood sample and PCR the ever-loving fuck about it. Well, you know, of the, if it's an mRNA vaccine, but, you know. It might take considerable time, but a sufficiently detailed analysis could allow for the antiviral drug itself to be reconstructed. Yeah, it's probably not an mRNA, so maybe not a PCR, but definitely gonna put it through a spectrum. Osawa felt a chill as he contemplated the situation. The kidnappers had known how tough security was at the lab, so they come up with the idea of using a human vessel to get what they needed from within. By infecting Hitomi with the UA virus, they ensured that she'd receive the antiviral, that she'd have it in her blood. If Tanaka were working with the kidnappers, that explained why he'd been so cooperative about the fingerprint scanner. That's possible, but again, I really don't think Tanaka is evil. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You know, I've been wrong a lot, so you know, it's entirely possible that Tanaka is a bad guy. But who knows?
Damn it!
Osawa shouted. He clutched his head in his hands. Tanaka has been his partner and trusted confidant for years. Osawa refused to believe he'd been betrayed like this. The front door chime sounded.
Mr. Osawa,
Kajiwara called out.
it appears you have a visitor. Could you handle that?
Oh, Minorikawa has come to his house. Who could it possibly be now of all times? I'm gonna have Osawa do it.
All right.
With a sigh, Osawa dragged himself to his feet. He stumbled wearily back to the living room, where the investigators were staring at the intercom monitor with concern. The intercom's hidden camera showed a man with an unsettling grin posed intimidatingly outside the front gate. Osawa didn't recognize him.
Yes, who is it?
He asked guardedly through the intercom.
It's Minorikawa! Where might I know you from, Mr. Minorikawa? Oh, you know, here and there. I mean, there's only one Minorikawa, really. Are you playing games with my heart? I don't have the time! Please, just open up! There's no way I'm letting you in.
Osawa said. But the nonsensical badgering continued.
Look, just hold your horses. I'm here for an interview. You got that? An interview? That's right! It's a piece for 4-star general gossip.
The name of the magazine brought up an unpleasant memory. Yep. That was the gossip rag that had run the article about his political marriage.
Wait. Is this for one of those kinds of articles? What do you mean? Those kinds of articles? I'm just looking for an interview.
The man's tone was both high-handed and belligerent.
Like hell you are. I'm not talking to anyone from the gossip. You're not the one I'm here to talk to. I want to interview your twin daughters. They're busy being kidnapped. My daughters? I understood they won a shared prize for a beauty contest at Midoriyama Academy. If you wouldn't mind my interviewing them, then I...
Furious, Osawa cut off the intercom. There was no time to be indulging someone else's nonsense.
Hey, what gives?
Oh, that's him.
Hey, what gives?
The man was shouting so loud his voice carried past the gate and through the front door.
I'm begging out here, on my hands and knees, for justice!
Oh my god. He wasn't actually on his hands and knees. Osawa could see that clearly through the intercom monitor.
If your daughters aren't home, could you at least tell them I want to get in touch with them?
Mr. Osawa,
Kajiwara said, frowning.
this isn't a good time to have someone drawing attention to your home.
All right, I'll get rid of him.
Oh, I got a save point. Wow. And again, I can't jump to him because I haven't even started Minorikawa's thing yet. But I wanted to this stream, but we kept getting sidetracked. Osawa hurried out of the house, confronting Minorikawa through the front gate. The journalist had that tenacious look that immediately marked him as a member of the media.
Give me your business card.
Osawa said.
I'll have them get in touch with you later.
He took Minorikawa's card. Minorikawa, jeez. He took Minorikawa's card, then went right back inside. Back in his study, Osawa tossed Minorikawa's business card into the trash. Oof. Unable to think of what else to do, he tried the internet fortune teller again.
Let's see. Which Ninja Turtle are you? Do you like machines? Being sarcastic? Being a leader? Or snappy one-liners? Well, I like inventing things and machines.
You are Donatello.
Wow! I would have never guessed that.
He got the same "you're a very work-minded person" result the second time. If you don't get over your indifference to the world might start to harbor quite a grudge.
My indifference to the world around me, huh?
The truth with that, even his closest companions, even with Tanaka, for instance, his relationship had always been strictly a matter of business. He'd never really taken it upon himself to get to know Tanaka as a person. And that was pretty much the case for everyone he knew. He harbored no interest in other people. He had no concern for his fellow man. That had made itself abundantly clear when he received a microscope as a birthday present way back in first grade. I got a microscope for a birthday present in elementary school too. Even now, he still remembered the shock he felt when he looked through that lens for the first time. It was a light microscope with no light, so it barely worked, but it was still a nice gesture. He discovered a new, almost infinite world, hidden in the midst of one he'd always thought was too small. By comparison, the real world seemed bland and ugly. Wherever he looked, wherever he went, he had to be content with tedium. It hadn't taken long for him to become more charmed by the world under his microscope than the one around him. It was like a calm, quiet little seaside. A beach where he could just sit and stare out at the waves. He wanted to stay immersed in that world forever and ever. Before he knew it, he was an adult, and then a husband, and then a father. The people around him thought him an odd fellow, but he hadn't let that change the way he lived his life. And this now was the result. He hadn't been betrayed by Tanaka. He didn't know Tanaka well enough for that. Find a way to connect more deeply with the people around you, and start living a better life before it's too late. Aloha Mirage, welcome to the stream. Just do that, and you're sure to have a wonderful future ahead. Osawa picked up his cell phone and dialed Tanaka's number. I had tried calling him repeatedly and hadn't gotten through. It was doubtful he'd picked up. Still, Osawa had to try. The phone rang several times. He listened grimly to the empty mechanical sound, preparing himself for disappointment.
What is it?
Tanaka's voice sounded coldly in Osawa's ear. The tension was electric. Are they gonna say to be continued? Yeah. I fucking knew it. Tales of Magia? What is Tales of Magia? I've never heard of that game. Hala Mirage. Sounds like a Tales game. But I know it's not a Tales game because I know all the Tales games and I've never heard of that one. Okay, let's go. Where did that end? Oh, really? All that, and it was only at 14:35. That's pretty gosh darn crazy. Anyway, we haven't even started Minorikawa, and I put an allusion to him in the title of the stream, so we gotta do him. Alright, let's go.
The laptop's busted! No!
Minorikawa's cry of despair echoed through the cafe. His laptop monitor stared back at him, black and empty.
Don't you die on me, buddy!
He jabbed his fingers sharply at the screen.
That is so unjust!
But the computer gave no response, looking well and truly dead.
What the hell?
Minorikawa pounded his fist onto the table. This would be a worst-case scenario even if he weren't desperately pressed for time.
Guess I'll just have to write by hand then.
That's not going to help you to hand things in on time. Because it's still going to have to be put into typing form to get on the magazine. Holy shit, Hollow Mirage. That is an insane amount of achievements. He rummaged around inside his bag and pulled out a notebook.
I can still do this! I totally can!
He shouted, doing his best to psych himself up for the task ahead.
I will still do this!
Yeah, a roguelike wouldn't fit for this channel. Excuse me, sir? The waitress appeared timidly behind him.
What?
Minorikawa snapped, his pen still flying across the paper. Sir, if you could please quiet down.
My damn computer just broke! I'm allowed to scream or two!
I would go absolutely nuts. So I completely agree with him here. I haven't written an assignment or anything manually since, like, what, elementary school? God. Minorikawa was in no state of mind to be quiet. If it weren't for the deadline he was racing to meet, he'd probably have gone on screaming until he passed out. Your computer is broken, you say? The waitress peered at the monitor.
Yeah, look! It just suddenly stopped displaying anything.
It looks like it's not plugged in, though. I'm pretty sure it just ran out of power. Could it be that, the battery is just dead? That's what I just said! Oh, God. You forgot to plug it in. Minorikawa sat bolt upright.
That's it! Ha-ha! Eureka!
The waitress flinched as Minorikawa's finger jabbed toward her face.
Objection! I hadn't even considered the possibility. Hey, let me plug in somewhere.
There's an outlet right there, sir. Oh my god. She pointed at an outlet by Minorikawa's feet, making no attempt to hide her exasperation. Minorikawa plugged in the power cable, and the monitor sprang to life as normal. So, now that that's sorted, would you please be quiet, sir?
Don't talk to me! You're interfering with my writing.
Minorikawa's fingers had already begun dancing across his keyboard. With a sigh, the waitress disappeared back into the kitchen.
Oh yeah! Now we're talking! Super typing speed, go!
His fingers pitched up speed as he went about touch typing. Damn, I can't do that. Holy shit. I do not know how to do that. To be able to type without looking at the keys? Man, that would be so nerve-wracking for me. Like, I could be, like, to be typing and, like, how would you even be? I could never do that. That seems so ridiculously complicated. The act of typing at a keyboard without looking at the keys. The aspiration of computer novices everywhere. The typical method involves placing the index fingers on the F and J keys, while the middle ring and pinky fingers are on the A, S, D, K, L, and semicolon keys, either side, from which all other keys are easily reached. With practice, a touch typist can instinctively hit the correct key every time without looking. That's pretty insane.
The pros and cons of surveillance cameras. Proprietor of outdated electronics shop oversees high-tech camera system. Bedlam at bogus weight loss drink sales demo. Bankrupted organizer remains undiscouraged.
Now Minorikawa's spirits are riding high. His riding rolled along at a brisk pace. So, it was the waitress again, her voice yanking Minorikawa right out of his soaring mood. Wow, the new generation. I truly am old. That's amazing, Hollow Mirage. Honestly, I would be so paranoid to do that, like, to type and then not being able to see if my fingers were hitting the correct keys. I would be too scared. It's like, oh shit, jeez. No, I really gotta see what I'm fucking typing. Sir?
Now what? Has the President of the United States agreed to give me a one-on-one interview?
The waitress's eyes went wide with confusion. Huh?
Because unless it's something that important, do not speak to me right now.
But she was undeterred. Sir, if you could please just be a little quieter. But wasn't he just typing? He's not talking, is he? Minorikawa's fingers ceased their rattling across the keys.
Just what sound do you have a problem with? If you want me not to yell, then don't ask me questions. All I've been doing is writing a copy.
Well, for the least while, actually. You've been talking while you write, sir. Oh my god! Oh my god! I mean, I use a bunch of different fingers to type, but it's fast enough, it's fast enough for me. The way I do it. I don't have a problem with my typing speed. I found I can type pretty quickly. But I just need to see what keys I'm typing.
Talking?
Minorikawa tilted his head in confusion. Yes, sir. You've been talking about an electronics store and some bogus weight loss drink. I assume that's what you're writing about?
Huh, you're saying I've been narrating my copy aloud while writing it? How embarrassing!
Oh yeah, it looks like he's using Notepad. Jeez. Wait, why is he typing on Notepad? What the fuck? Could they not get copyright for Microsoft Word or some shit? Jeez. That's right, sir. Other customers sitting nearby were openly snickering.
Well, so what?
He snapped. He was red in the face now.
You should all be delighted that you got to hear what I'm writing before the magazine goes to print. Consider it a sneak preview.
Well, actually, sir, One of our customers has been complaining.
Complaining? Of all the nerve! Who was it? Where are they?
Minorikawa scanned the other patrons. Many of them were unsuccessfully trying to hide their laughter. It was me. I don't know who's saying that. Oh, he's still there?
It was me.
It was the grumpy older fellow who'd been making a scene earlier.
Bogus diet fads. Peeping security cameras. Reminds me of that sleazy tabloid 4-star general gossip I hate so much. Oh-ho! You sure seem to know a lot about it for something you hate so much.
The man's face twisted up with scorn.
Your behavior is bothering everyone in here.
He said.
Do you not understand that? No, I don't. Guess a reporter who writes nothing but nonsense, but has nonsense in everything he does.
Minorikawa could feel his blood boiling.
What was that? Come on, I dare you to say that again. Oh, gladly. Nonsense, filth, codswallop, flim-flam! You bastard! How dare you use old-fashioned insults from the 1950s?
Minorikawa stormed over to the man's table.
Flim-flam indeed!
Bogus or insincere content. Few things anger Minorikawa more than reporters using dishonest means to create a story. Having his own work called flim-flam would naturally make him blow his top. Oh god. Okay, I didn't miss anything.
Just who are you calling flim-flam?
The other man stood up and glowered in Minorikawa's face.
You utterly lack any manners, a sense of decency for starters. I have plenty of manners and decency. I also happen to have a deadline. Bah! As if a flim-flam artist like you wasn't working. Stop calling me flim-flam!
The waitress inserted herself between the two men. Gentlemen, please, stop fighting!
I demand that you remove this man at once.
The older fellow barked.
He's the one you should be kicking out.
Minorikawa shot back. By now, he was ready to go for the guy's throat. Please, the waitress pleaded. Both of you, return to your seats. She grabbed onto Minorikawa and began to forcibly drag him back to his table. Okay, I'm guessing it's not going to be good to get into a fight. Let's go with B.
Okay, just calm down.
Minorikawa did his best to swallow his pride.
Whatever. I don't have time for this anyway.
He stalked back to his seat. The other man snorted and stalked down with a scowl. Sat down with a scowl. Oh, that was him saying it. God damn it. The needless interruption. Just when he finally got into writing mode, had all but killed Minorikawa's motivation. He decided he needed to take a breather. He turned to the waitress. Oh, it looks like he is going to do that, Ji-chan.
One spaghetti Napolitan, please.
Oh no, it's this again! Oh god! do this? Spaghetti flavored with tomato ketchup. What the fuck, man? That is so fucking wrong. Oh my god. Napolitan is a corruption of Neapolitan, though the dish itself has no connection to the Italian city of Naples. Rather, it originated as a menu item in a hotel in Yokohama, shortly after World War II. There is also a spaghetti dish from Nagoya called Milanese, which likely has no connection to the Italian city of Milan.
I wanna torture myself.
He might not have a lot of spare time, but working on an empty stomach wouldn't do him any favors. While waiting for his order to come out, he decided to read back over the copy he'd written so far.
What?
Did you forget? Did it become unplugged? When he looked back at the monitor, the screen was black yet again. Looking down at his feet, he saw that the power cable was now unplugged.
Hey! What kind of cafe are you people running here?
Relax, dude. The thing comes out of the laptop all the time. The waitress hurried over, looking combative. So, you yanked that out yourself when you stood up, Oilia. See, I told you.
What a likely story.
Oh, come on, Minorikawa. It's the truth, sir. Minorikawa pointed at one of the customers sitting next to him.
Is she telling the truth? Did I really yank my power cord out myself?
The man nodded sheepishly.
Yeah, well then, that's the outlet's fault for being someplace where it unplugs so easily.
Minorikawa squawked, "Oh my god." The waitress marched away, head held high.
Just make sure that spaghetti's delicious, even though that's a physically impossible task. When you are putting ketchup on it.
Minorikawa shouted after her.
Do that and I'll consider us even. Oh, and load it with cheese. Lots of cheese.
I can't even imagine cheese and ketchup together except on a hamburger, and even then, like, not pasta cheese. What? Oh god. Oh god. He plugged the power cable back in, then let out a heavy sigh. In all his writing fervor, he hadn't thought to save his work. God damn it. Oof. Always make sure to save your work to avoid losing data. Honestly, why is it that your computer only seems to freeze when you've forgotten to save your stuff? Ketchup is also sweet, by the way. It completely clashes with pasta. He was probably gonna have to rewrite most of what he'd done.
Excuse me.
Oh, it's her.
Huh?
I think this is Hitomi, probably. Excuse me. Minorikawa looked up to see a young woman standing there. I'm so sorry, she said. Oh, no, this is the other girl. This is, Kano's, girlfriend. About my father. She gave a tiny bow.
Your father? Oh, the rude old man.
He's just a little worked up right now. Please don't pay him any mind.
So what? You waiting on your boyfriend?
Oh wow, you gotta guess that right. Huh? The woman was taken back.
I happened to hear you two arguing earlier. Would have been about 2 hours ago.
Oh, I see. Oh, away. An awkward, embarrassed smile came to the woman's face. I thought he was going to ask my father for permission to marry me, so we've been waiting for him, but...
But he hasn't shown up.
No. He must be really busy. She cast her eyes down sadly. Minorikawa took a better look at her. She was gorgeous. A woman with her looks wasn't something that he saw every day, that's for sure.
Say, would you mind talking with me for a bit?
Me?
Yeah, I kinda need to turn my mood around here.
Well, okay. At least until my father gets back. She's not a hostess. The woman cast an anxious look toward the restrooms. Magus gets it.
What's your name?
Rumi. She sat down across from him.
Wait a second! Aren't you
Minorikawa peered at Rumi's face.
one of those twins that were chosen as Miss Midoriyama?
Nope. But there's gotta be a reason why they're not showing her face. I mean, that's different for Asian noodles, you know, Ji-chan. I've had like things like pad thai and stuff like it's different because Asian noodles aren't exactly spaghetti. They're like they have their own texture and like different things like that. But if it's literally on like spaghetti, like pasta that's meant for like Italian sauce, like that just sounds horribly wrong. But yeah, sweet sauces on like, you know, Asian noodles work totally fine. Rumi shook her head. No, not me.
No! Darn, didn't think I'd be that lucky.
He took a sip of his now cold coffee. I do know the girls you're talking about, though. Really? Rumi said. Oh, you're literally just talking about spaghetti, Ji-chan. Wow. Because I was thinking like pad thai noodles and such. Oh, that's not true, OA. Many different noodles are made in many different ways with different ingredients. Different types of wheat and all that. And he's going, yeah, there is definitely more to it than that, OA. Minorikawa spat out his coffee in surprise. Rumi squeaked in an alarm as the spray splattered her face. But Minorikawa leaned in, unconcerned.
You mean it? You really know them?
Yes, Rumi replied. You're talking about the Osawa twins, right? She got out a handkerchief and wiped the copy from her face as she spoke.
Osawa, huh?
Minorikawa glanced down at the project proposal on his table.
Sexy squared. Twins share top prizes local university beauty contest.
So that was pretty recent. I thought that was a while ago. I forget how long ago Hitomi said that was. Midoriyama Academy, Maria and Hitomi Osawa.
Yes, that's it! The Osawa twins! Oh yeah.
I actually won Miss Minoriyama myself a few years ago. This year I served as one of the judges.
Huh.
Minorikawa adopted a self-satisfied pose.
Guess I really was born under the right sign to be a freelancer. The lead just come to me.
Sure, Rumi muttered.
Okay, let's talk basics then. Tell me what you know about these girls.
Well, I don't really know them personally. Ruby continued to dab at the coffee on her face. But now that you ask, I do remember hearing that they'd entered the contest separately.
Wait, separately?
Now Minorikawa was a bit confused. Yes, that's right. I'd assumed they'd entered as a pair, but apparently not.
I wonder why. I mean, they're twins. Don't they look alike, wear the same clothes, do everything together, and say the same things at the same time and stuff?
You watch way too many 1990s sitcoms. Rumi chuckled and shook her head. No, not at all. Besides, these two aren't identical. They're fraternal twins, yet they look so much alike. Twins who were born at the same time from two eggs that were fertilized separately. Fraternal twins do not share the same genetic information. They can differ in such characteristics as sex and body type. Though there are cases of fraternal twins resembling one another almost as closely as identical twins. Wow, what are the odds of that? Maria and Tomiyasawa happen to look very closely alike, but they do not have the same blood type. Oh, I bet that's critical. Although at a glance, they do look very similar. Still, how should I put this? They both give off a very different impression.
Oh, now that sounds interesting. Mind explaining what you mean?
Minorikawa opened his memo pad. I talked to them briefly after the award ceremony. The older sister struck me as really energetic, but the younger one was more quiet and reserved. Minorikawa's investigative senses were tingling.
No, I wouldn't figure a shy girl would want to enter a campus beauty contest.
I suppose not, no.
Yeah. I don't suppose you've got anything juicier?
Minorikawa asked. Rumi frowned. Would you like to just go ask them yourself? She said. They don't live very far from here. And here's where we go.
Whoa! Hold the phone!
Minorikawa could hardly believe what had just fallen into his lap. The advance into the project proposal had mentioned the girls were students at Midoriyama, but hadn't given an actual address. If he could talk to them directly, now that would be pay dirt.
You know where they live?
Well, not exactly. I just heard that they lived in Shoto.
Ah, Shoto! My favorite My Hero Academia character.
That wasn't far away. A car or motorcycle could get there in about 10 minutes. It'd be quicker than going to Midoriyama Academy. And he'd be able to meet with the girls themselves. Minorikawa flashed a quick look toward the restroom. It looked like Rumi's father had just gotten back. Sorry, she said. I really should be going.
No problem, and thank you.
Rumi gave him a quick nod, then hurried back to her seat. Minorikawa grabbed the directory from the public phone and flipped through the pages. To his surprise, there were only 5 listings for the name Osawa with addresses in Shoto. There was neither a Maria nor a Hitomi, but he hadn't expected there to be. He'd need to find their parents. Wasting no time, he called up the first Osawa on the list.
Bingo!
Minorikawa couldn't help but pump his fist in excitement. He'd gotten the right place on his first try. Wow.
Way to go, me! There is no stopping reporting justice.
He committed the house number listed in the phone book to memory. Excuse me, I believe you should be saying that he got it memorized. He got the house number listed memorized. Not committed to memory. Just then, the waitress reappeared with a disgruntled expression. Minorikawa's order of spaghetti Napolitan. Here you are, sir. Good luck.
Oh!
If that wasn't ketchup, that would actually be quite nice looking. If that was actually, like pasta sauce. The pasta was piled high with an impressive amount of grated cheese. It looked almost like a miniature mountain of snow. You did say lots of cheese, sir, the waitress told him. She sat down a canister of cheese and a bottle of Tabasco. Tabasco. A sauce made by US-based McIlhenny Company, consisting of hot peppers, grain vinegar, and rock salt, known for its distinctive spiciness. It can make spaghetti and pizza quite tasty with the addition of just a few drops. Tabasco also goes pretty well with ramen and curry. Recommended for times when flavor is lacking a little punch. However, even one spot may be too much for those who can't handle spicy things. It has been claimed that Tabasco was first imported to Japan by a certain well-known former pro wrestler, but this story is untrue.
Oh, this looks good.
Minorikawa exclaimed. He twirled some spaghetti up with his fork and shoveled it into his mouth. Slightly sour sweetness of the ketchup blended perfectly with the mellow flavor of cheese. Really? Ketchup and Parmesan cheese? Are you seriously?
Oh, that is tasty.
There was nothing like satisfying grub to lift the spirits. He then turned back to his laptop, still wolfing down the spaghetti.
All right, we're back in action. Let's do this. Minorikawa, away for justice.
Yet again, he unthinkingly blurted his words aloud as he slipped back into writing mode.
I've got this. I've got this.
With ketchup smeared around his mouth, he set his fingers tapping away at the keys. The waitress let out another groan of dismay. Huh? You say something? Minorikawa glanced in her direction, but the waitress faked a smile. Ah. No, sir, I don't think I do.
Yeah, well then go away!
Oh my god.
You're distracting me.
The moment he looked away, she clenched her fists in indignation.
Huh?
Nothing, sir. Good luck with your work, sir. Somewhere else.
I don't need luck. I've got this. Justice!
Eyes jumping back and forth between pasta and computer, Minorikawa got to work on his copy once more. Before long, he was oblivious to every sound in the cafe around him. When he finally snapped out of writing mode, he glanced at his watch. It was 2:20. Almost time for him to head to his next interview.
Better get a move on.
Is he gonna go to Osawa first? Kumazuka's taxi came by just as Minorikawa was hurrying out of the cafe.
Well, what a pleasant surprise!
Minorikawa called out.
Nice timing, my man.
Kumazuka's startled look quickly vanished behind an expression of professional resignation.
Do you need a ride, sir?
What voice should I give him?
Do you need a ride? Do you need a ride, sir?
I think that's good.
You know it!
Minorikawa replied.
First, head to Shoto. After that, I'll need to get to Sakuragoka.
As he cast his gaze out to the sights of the city, Minorikawa mulled over his plan for the next part of the day. First, he'd interview the Miss Midoriyama girls. Then he'd meet with the head of the theater troupe. In order to leave himself enough time to write his copy, that meant,
I'd like to get this all wrapped up in 20 minutes.
he said.
Can you make that happen?
Kumazuka flashed a grin.
That will incur a special fare, sir. Ooh, special!
Minorikawa said as he got settled in his seat.
I love that word!
Kumazuka stepped on the gas. Shibuya was a town of contrasts. It was a town of young people, unpretentious, energetic. The Scramble intersection and Center God perfectly conveyed that vibrancy. However, if one turned right at the 109 building and headed down Munkamuradori, the town's whole atmosphere changed. Really. Looks like an Evangelion type of road. Shoto was one of Shibuya's, indeed, one of Tokyo's most upscale residential districts. Wherever one looked, there were stately manor houses, giving off an imposing air, sending the message that this was no place for the common folk.
Right here, it's fine.
Minorikawa directed Kimazuka to pull over.
Wait here for me. I'll be right back.
Hopping out of the taxi, he checked the nameplates of the nearby homes.
Ah, here we go again.
He spotted a nameplate that read Osawa.
Kenji Osawa, huh?
The name nagged at him somehow. It had been in the back of his mind ever since he'd seen it in the phone book back at the cafe. Had he heard it someplace before? He walked up to the gate and pressed the button for the intercom. Even the little chime it made when pressed sounded elegant. Oh god, you're like a little kid here. Minorikawa waited, but there was no response. He looked at his watch. It was 2:30 now. His interview with Shinosuke Orai of the Wandering Angels was supposed to have started already. Oh no. Episode 3. With help from Shinichi Bando, Mondo was able to get out of his apartment. Then, when all the players had finally assembled, the troupe proceeded with one last rehearsal before showtime. But again, tragedy struck. Mondo came down with food poisoning after eating his lunch. He was rushed to hospital in an ambulance, and the Angels were once again lacking an actor for the key role of Shindo. Orai was on the verge of panic. Finally, however, he came up with a solution. Novice actor Takuya Amo, age 31, would take on the part, beginning in episode 4. His interview, oh yeah. Still, he wanted to meet up with the twins first if it was possible. He had to make a choice. God damn. I think I'm gonna make him wait a bit longer. You decide to wait a bit longer.
Just 5 more minutes.
Suddenly, a man's voice came through the intercom. Here we go.
Yes, who is it?
He sounded rather guarded.
It's Minorikawa. Where might I know you from, Mr. Orikawa? Minorikawa. Oh, you know, here and there. I mean, there's only one Minorikawa, really. Are you playing games with me?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's, they were saying that.
Are you playing games with me? I don't have that time for that. Please just open up. There's no way I'm letting you in.
This discussion was getting them nowhere. Minorikawa decided to have to take the direct approach.
Look, just hold your horses. I'm here for an interview. You got that?
An interview? He'd taken the bait. Most folks could hardly resist the word interview.
That's right. It's a piece for 4-star general gossip. Wait, this is for one of those kinds of articles?
The man sounded angry now.
What do you mean? Those kinds of articles? I'm just looking for an interview. Like hell you are! I'm not talking to anyone from the gossip.
Oh, okay. No, this is Osawa. God damn it, I'm such an idiot.
Like hell you are. I'm not talking to anyone from the gossip. You're not the one I'm here to talk to. I want to interview your twin daughters. My daughters?
No parent would deny their children a chance for word of their achievements to spread.
I understand they want a shared prize for the beauty contest at Minorikawa Academy. If you wouldn't mind interviewing them,
The intercom cut off before Minorikawa could finish.
Hey, what gives? I'm begging out here on my hands and knees.
He wasn't actually on his hands and knees, but whoever was on the other side couldn't see that, or could they?
If your daughters aren't home, can you at least tell them I want to get in touch with them?
He wasn't even using the intercom now. It was just shouting over the gate. Wow. A man stepped out of the front door. There's Osawa,
Give me your business card.
he said.
I'll have them get in touch with you later.
The man had a somewhat stricken look on his face. This had to be Kenji Osawa then. Wait. Hold on. Osawa? Now Minorikawa recognized him. This was Kenji Osawa, the preeminent virologist who worked for Okoshi Pharmaceutical. Four-star General Gossip had run a scandalous article in the past. Minorikawa remembered reading it. This was Kenji Osawa, the preeminent virologist who worked for Okoshi Pharmaceutical. Four-star General Gossip had run a scandalous article on him in the past. Minorikawa remembered reading it. He held out his business card and Osawa snatched it from him. The virologist started to head back into his house.
Please say that see that they get back to me, Mr. Osawa.
Minorikawa shouted after him. And then he noticed something odd. It was the middle of the afternoon. Every window in the house had its curtains drawn. Then, combined with Osawa's demeanor, set off alarm bells in Minorikawa's head. He knew he was onto something, but he couldn't linger at the Osawa residence any longer than he already had. He needed to get to that theater ASAP. He hurried back to the taxi and told Kimazuka to go, go, go! A few minutes later, the rear tire skidded sharply as the cab came to a stop behind a different curb. The trip from Shoto to the theater in Sakuragaoka had taken almost no time at all.
Here we are, sir.
Kimazuka announced.
Wow, that was fast.
Still, Minorikawa was at least 5 minutes behind schedule. He'd hoped he'd still be able to get to the interview with Oarai. My god, he's interviewing so many people. There we go. Okay. This is good timing because I'm feeling pretty kind of sleepy today. I'm so sorry, you guys. Yep. Alright, so next time. Back to Kano. I think he's literally the only one. Yeah, he's the only one we can do right now is Kano. So yeah, back to him for a while. Seriously, guys, thank you so much for joining me and putting up with all my bullshit. Oh my god, you guys are awesome. On, I believe today is Friday, so Sunday will be more Artinelico. We're going to finish off a Cosmosphere. And on Tuesday, we will continue this. Okay? So until then, I will say, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, good night. You are all the sweetest of hearts. See ya.